This is the most impactful podcast I've done. I want you to listen to it, but I also want you to share it with as many people as possible. I interviewed Jay and Hayley. So Jay is Hayley's son. Hayley has been in and out of psychiatric hospitals for 27 years. She's had postnatal psychosis. She's had PMDD, premenstrual dysphoric disorder. She's had awful depression, treatment-resistant depression. She's had various antidepressants, numerous antipsychotics. She's had ECT, electroconvulsive therapy. She's also been told she might have dementia, and she's taken to alcohol for many, many years. But because she was also menopausal, I managed to persuade the psychiatrist to prescribe some hormones for her, and you will see and hear the difference. We need to get this story out more, and I'm really grateful that they came today. But I want you to not just listen to it, but reflect on it and think about the injustice of women who aren't so lucky as Hayley because they don't have a son like Jay. Enjoy it. Hayley, Jay, both of you. I've not done a double podcast before. I feel like you're almost interviewing me, but it's great. I am really excited about this podcast. I don't want to put pressure on you, but I've been thinking about this for a long time, and the timing feels right. And there's quite a few patients that are really memorable, but I am never, ever going to forget both of you. And I'm never going to forget that email that I got from you. So I'm just really grateful that you're here to share your experience because, well, lots of reasons, but the big thing that's going to change health of women going forwards is women helping women and women talking and men talking and others talking. It's not about me. It's not about what I think. It's not about what I've read. It's about real people. And I went into medicine to help people, not patients, but people. And I'm very privileged that I can do that in my job. But it's still somehow not getting through. Hormones are just thought of something for hot flashes, something that might help a little bit. But I often say to people that the work I do is transformational. And they look at me like I'm a bit weird. But you have been transformed, and I just want others to hear about it. So, Jay, tell me about the email that you sent me.
It was the Instagram message first, wasn't it? But
that's right, yeah.
So we, I'd heard from a family friend. She said, "I've been listening to Louise's podcast and give it a listen." So at that point, my mum was sort of 3-4 months into her hospital admission, and I gave the podcast a listen, and everything just really resonated, and it all made sense. I sent the message on Instagram, and you replied. That was May bank holiday, and you replied straight away. We followed it up with an email to just explain my mum's story as quickly as I could, and then we jumped on a call and started working straight away to get my mum the hormones that she needed.
Yeah. So when you spoke to me, you told me about your mum, and obviously, Hayley, you were in a hospital, but it was a psychiatric hospital.
Yeah.
But you'd not just been in a psychiatric hospital for 3 months, had you?
No. I've been in them since 1995.
That's a long time, isn't it? Because when you were growing up, you fit well, you're working,
Yeah.
quite a sparkle in your eyes, and
a bit too overconfident at times, I would say. But yeah, it was after, my first depression and bit of a psychosis was when I was 17, but I had a termination when I was in my late 16s.
Right.
So whether again,
related
that
to
was...
that. Yeah. And then you've got 3 children now. And when you were pregnant, did you feel okay mentally?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
But then after having the babies, your mood dropped, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. And with my first one, Christian, it wasn't as bad. Lewis, sorry, it wasn't as bad. But when he was maybe 8 months, I felt low and depressed. But after Christian in 95, he was born in May, and at October, Halloween that year, I decided people were out to kill me and just horrendous thoughts. And I tried to run up the road in my underwear to escape the house and just really totally lost it.
So were you sectioned then?
I wasn't sectioned. I went into a Sheffield hospital on the psychiatric ward, but I was in there for 2.5 weeks. Then I was let back out, but it's the first time I was put on antipsychotics.
Right. Do you remember being put on the antipsychotics?
Not really, because a lot of the time when I'm in hospital, until I'm starting to feel better, it's all a kind of fuzzy blur. It's not... I don't remember all of it that well. But, and then, of course, after Jay in 2000, he was only 2 months and it all happened and flared up again. And then I was in hospital for 2.5 months on a different ward. But they were trying to get me into the Nottingham mother and baby unit, but there wasn't any room. So again, I was kind of separated from him. And family and friends helped out. But
did anyone talk about hormones then?
never ever mentioned. That time I did have ECT again for the first time.
So that's electroconvulsive therapy. Do you remember having that or them talking about it?
Yeah, because I can remember them saying they didn't do it at the unit I was in, which was Netherhead, Sheffield. They did it at the Northern General Hospital. So I can remember going in the taxi with the nurse to have it done. And it did work really quickly. I thought, oh, brilliant, I'm better again. But looking back, I wasn't properly better, if you know what I mean. I think I was fighting to get off the ward.
Yeah,
so
of course.
Displaying it that I was, I'm fine, I can kind of go home now. But I'd been, on that admission, I'd been very, very high and then kind of slumped very low. And I fed all three, and with Jay, I was still like lactating on the ward and everything. I think my hormones were
all over.
Yeah. But again, nothing was ever picked up on or suggested, or they just called it post-puerperal psychosis or postpartum.
And then you had your periods after they came back, but you always felt something wasn't right before your periods, didn't you?
Yeah.
How did that affect you?
Just very angry and panicky and panic attacks. And I mean, on one occasion, and I hate that Jay wasn't aware of that. I don't think he was even born, but I threw a wine bottle through a window in the kitchen.
Did you?
In like just a rage. I don't think Christian can remember that, but Lewis can remember that.
That's hard, isn't it?
When a period came, I'd think, oh, thank God for that. And I said that to Baz, my ex-husband, last night, probably because of that, you know. When you wake up the next morning and relive if you've kicked off and caused a scene. And so I think years ago, if I'd been given things, I might have calmed down and not had like a volatile temper.
But when you went, because you've seen so many psychiatrists, haven't you?
Oh gosh, yeah.
Did anyone talk to you about your periods or how?
Never, ever.
Does that surprise you, what you know now?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, definitely. But as Jay was saying, when he this time tried to get help, it took him a while for them to even listen to him and kind of say, well, fair enough, we'll give it a try.
Yeah.
And that was the thing. I mean, we'd been told at that point, some 30 years later, that you were treatment resistant to antipsychotics, antidepressants, which that was the first time from a psychiatrist they admitted that. So we tried the ECT on the basis it had worked years ago, but you had 12 sessions of that and, it failed to do anything. So at that point I was like, what else? Because you were put on clozapine, which, they said if
Because
this...
of being left me just very not in the real world.
Yeah.
I was on, you said Hayley's world, didn't you? Because
Well,
I was so...
You were just numb to everything, you don't remember any time
No,
that you
I
were
mean,
on clozapine.
Since being on the HRT, my mum and dad died both within the last 5 years. I didn't attend either of the funerals because I couldn't, which I'll regret for the rest of my life, but there's nothing I can do about it. The HRT, I've actually cried, which I've not done for years.
Yeah.
So, and it's just amazing to think, because before I cried at the drop of a hat, if something was sad, I'd be the first one to cry, but for years I've just been so cold and flat.
Yeah, and that's very interesting because a lot of people say that when they're on medications or antidepressants or antipsychotics that they feel numb. So they don't experience sadness, but they don't experience joy. But actually sometimes it's not a bad thing to feel sad and to be upset, because then when you feel happy it's even better. But to be this sort of flatlining. But for you, Jay, I feel really bad asking you these questions, but I just want people to try and understand, because you've been affected. You've been in and out of psychiatric hospitals. You've seen countless psychiatrists. Your life's obviously been affected, but for you've not really grown up with your mum being at home, have you?
No, it hasn't been. My mum's been absent a lot of the years, and whilst, when you have been well, and at all times we know you've loved us, and we've all three of me and my brothers have turned out to be kind, caring people. But it's been very hard, and I was always sort of, comparing my mum to other mums growing up, because I was like, why can my mum not be, working and well? And now it really frustrates me that all along, had my mum been given, her hormones back after childbirth, that I would have, we may have, my mum would have most likely kept a career,
But I kind of turned to drink to mask a lot of it as well, which the boys saw. And then your dad did as well, so that wasn't a healthy thing going on. But Jay, I remember watching him at 11 years of age wrapping his own Christmas presents, because I were like dithering round. And, it's just awful things like that. And because the other two were older than Jay and went off to uni, Jay became the parent and is very mature for his years. And I think because of that...
I think, it's looking back now, it's had its positives, but it could have easily gone the other way.
You are completely strong. And I was talking about this earlier, actually, to my husband, that I worry about the effects of changing hormones, not just on the person. Obviously, I worry about people, but it's the ripple effect. So it's partners, we know divorce rates increase, but it's the children. And I worry about domestic abuse. I worry about what children are seeing and listening to and hearing and having to put up with. Because how do you ask for help when you're 11 and you're wrapping up your own presents and your mum's drinking?
Absolutely. I was fortunate that I'd got my nan and your mum,
and
she
her
really
sister,
she really did help. But similarly, you have recollections that it does get passed down. This
my mum used to be terrible around a period.
Did she?
Yeah, and she'd go into like a little zombie mode, and we all thought, because at the time she was having some sleeping tablets, as kids we decided, she was taking them all at once and it was making her... But looking back, she did well as she got older, didn't she?
She did. She as a grandma, she was... she did.
Yeah.
Worked,
we see that though, because sometimes it's the changing hormone levels, not just the absolute level. Do you see what I mean? Because the brain likes things the same. So when you're having your periods, your hormone levels drop before every period. And some people don't notice the change. Lots of people just feel a bit flat, a bit fed up. But some people feel really bad, as you know. But it's the same in the perimenopause, when your hormones are fluctuating like that. That's where people can really have a worse time. And in menopause, if hormone levels are low, with time the brain might accommodate and change. And I was reading a book, I am a bit strange, from 1871, a long time ago, by a physician called Edward Tilt. And he wrote about the mental health component of the crisis time before the change. So they didn't know about hormones, but they knew when periods stopped, women calmed down. And he was talking about prisons, actually. And he was writing that some women turn to crime because of the way they feel. And we know that's still happening now. But he said some women, some 20 years later, have been released from prison and they have not committed another crime, then they've calmed down. And I thought, actually, I can see that because their hormones have declined. And he was so frustrated the way he wrote because he wanted to help people. He was giving them belladonna, he was giving them morphine. He didn't know what to do, but he got it and understood it. Whereas now it's like people don't even associate mental health with hormones and periods. And it's so obvious when you sort of know what's happening. But so we spoke, didn't we? And you reached out and you were in an NHS hospital. And so we managed to persuade the psychiatrist to prescribe, didn't we?
We did eventually. I mean, at the first, I remember the ward round and I sort of said, I've been listening to Dr Newson's podcast and, you know, I'm questioning if this could be hormones. And the answer was, this is not hormones. Tell me how you think it's hormones. And I said, well, my mum generally got unwell when she'd had her children. And they said, yes, but then it happened after your children. I said, yes, and there's a cycle there. That was at the time, I think you'd just finished your ECT as well. So, yeah, we carried on persuading. And fortunately, there was a female psychiatrist that you spoke to. And eventually, you know, they agreed the lowest doses, if you like, with testosterone added as well.
Yeah, I got the gel and the patches, didn't I?
Yeah, and the tablet on the night that you had.
I think just one patch to begin with, and then, but I was kind of so in la land that
I know.
When
they
they
thought
were
you might
bringing
have
to me-
dementia as well, didn't they?
apparently on a scan there is a little bit of, what is it called?
They did a scan and it was showing some grey area. And, you know, in a ward round they said, there's a chance your mum's got frontotemporal dementia, to which I told the family, and we were kind of, you know, I thought this was the final part of the illness, and I really didn't expect anything to recover from there. Obviously, it was being questioned at the time, but I do feel that if we hadn't got you on hormones, you would have followed the pattern of what is dementia. You know, you're unable to communicate.
Social workers and whatever were kind of pushing for assisted living and showing me videos where, I mean, I look a lot older than my age. I'm like 57 and a half, and they were all about late 70s, 80s, and I didn't want to go and live in assisted living and, you know, be like kind of popped into that box by the... But
I remember talking to a psychiatrist and saying, look, you know, you're in your 50s, so you're menopausal. I have no idea how much is related. It seems like some of it probably is, because I've seen a lot of people in the past, and the story, like you say, of the postnatal psychosis, the PMDD, some of it's going to be related to hormones. But for your bones, for your heart, there are still benefits. The guidelines are clear that we should be giving hormones first line for women if they want them, for menopause. So I said, you can carry on with your psychiatric bit, you can carry on with the dementia bit, but I just feel that you should to prescribe, and fair play to her, she did prescribe them, and they did blood tests actually, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
And we could see that you weren't absorbing them very much. And then I thought they'd never give testosterone, but they did give testosterone. And we know, and it's been known for many years, decades, that testosterone can improve well-being, it can improve mental health as well as physical health. So, and then we had to wait, because we have to wait with hormones, and that's the hardest bit because I'm quite impatient. And we were on holiday. I took my children to Barcelona at Christmas time, and they were in a flea market, like finding tops for like €1. I'm really excited. So I'm obviously on my phone, and I started crying. And they were like, what's going on, Mummy? And I said, I've just had this picture. She said, what? And I showed them, and it was you with a Christmas cracker. And do you remember you showed me the picture?
Christmas dinner, yeah.
And they were like, yeah, it's a lady with a Christmas. I said, no, but her son hasn't had a Christmas like this before.
No, it's not, because most of the Christmases, to get through Christmas and panic about, oh my God, it's Christmas, I'll never cope. Obviously, extra drink was brought into the house because it was Christmas. So that would be me kind of every Christmas Eve afternoon thinking, I'm not having a drink tonight because I want to be aware of Christmas morning. And I'd just go and get sloshed and think.
Yeah.
So,
So, and then we've obviously become quite close just to help. And things have just got better.
Fingers crossed. I always panic, but
well, no one knows the future, like less for today. And you know, I hope you don't mind saying, but you know, you both went to see Robbie Williams. Like, who would have thought even a year ago that would have happened?
Never ever would it have happened. And I went with both Christian and Jay. So we stayed in London a couple of nights at Christian's. We walked down massive stairs to get to the gig, and I get really bad vertigo, and it was just brilliant. All of it.
Stood amongst, you know, quite in the middle of the standing stadium with, you know, 50, 60,000 people around you, and eventually he got into it and dancing and singing to the music, and it's just, you know, when you look back a year ago.
I can't believe, I mean, I live in fear of going back on the wards. I hate them. The first 2 or 3 times I went in, I was much, much younger, and it was like, because I was so high, it was like being in a club with your friends type thing, who you'd make friends with other patients, and but they're not nice places.
No, they're not. I mean, I've done a lot of psychiatry in Manchester, quite inner city, and actually that was in the early 90s, but then about 18 months ago, I went to go and visit one of my patients who was when there was an HRT shortage. Her GP said, you don't need it anymore. And her husband reached out to me and said, I'm really worried about her. So I jumped in the car, and she was so freaked out seeing me. She didn't expect me to do it on a Sunday.
Yeah.
But I was looking around, I was thinking, God, this could be in 1992. Like, it's so sparse. Do a ward round once a week, but what are you supposed to do the rest of the time? It was awful. And I'd just like to add, I've spoken to her recently, and she is amazing, but it's taken a long time with her because she didn't want the testosterone, and in my clinical experience, it's the testosterone that makes the biggest difference. And a lot of women, I think, have been low in testosterone for a long time, so it takes a while for all those cells to work and regenerate, especially in the brain. But, you know, you're not drinking, are you?
I've had the odd one, but
no,
I'm not. No.
But that's huge, though, Hayley, to have gone through,
I've come off cigarettes. I've been having the odd one, but I'm trying to get off them totally. But drink controlled me for years, along with my hormones and maybe some mental health, what I do have, what hasn't been treated as it should have been. So
it's amazing. And you know, there will be people listening to this thinking, they're going to say it's hormones. Of course they are, but there's nothing else that's changed.
No, absolutely
we've not changed. We are going to start gradually reducing some of your other medication, but we haven't changed anything.
And those psychiatric medications are the ones that you've been on for, you know, given that they have been changed, but the sertraline, olanzapine, lithium, you've been on them
since 2004.
So, you know, I don't believe it's the psychiatric.
I mean, the olanzapine, the people who come to give me my meds, they'll come in and they'll put them in a pot for me at, say, 7:30, 7:45, and they'll say, you're taking them more than you used to do. And I'd say, well, no, because if I take them now, I'll be in bed for like 8 o'clock. So I'll wait and take them at 10, 11 o'clock. Then I get the munchies. Then I'm in the kitchen raiding for food, like really being hungry.
And the restless legs, that was the other night. You said, it gets to 10, 11 o'clock and your legs are restless. And that doesn't happen through the day when,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. I mean, they have side effects. We know they have side effects
Mm-hmm.
because they're chemicals, aren't they? And they can be beneficial as well.
I mean,
but
they've helped, don't get me wrong, by not running up the road in my underwear
That's
type
good.
thing.
Yeah. And this is what I'm trying to really let people understand, that lots of medications have a role, but we can't keep ignoring hormones. You know, you might always need some psychiatric medication. I have no way of knowing, of course. We have no way. We can't go back in the past and say, if you'd always had hormones, would you have needed? We don't know. But what we do know now is that you are so much better. And it's been a while. It's not just a quick thing. And it's a gradual improvement, which has just been amazing to watch and see. But the biggest thing that really upsets me is that you still can't get the hormones that you need from the NHS.
Absolutely.
But you can get all these other drugs. So you can get lithium, you can get olanzapine. But why can't you get your natural hormones? I just don't get it. I go from being really sad to really cross because it's 2025. We've known for decades that hormones help with mental health. We know that some women need different doses just to absorb through the skin, and we know that you're better. And, you know, you're such an advocate for your mum, and you're going through so many layers of complaints and problems.
Absolutely.
But it doesn't feel right, does it?
No, and it's really frustrating. And unfortunately, you know, we've had the help from you where, you know, I get, you know, you respond to me within generally a few hours, and, you know, and so warm to us. You know, my mum says we're comfortable when we're speaking to you, but when I speak to, unfortunately, some of the GPs and whatnot, they're very cold with us, and they, you know, we don't get the how are you. We don't get that. It's kind of you can't have your hormones. I'm following the guide.
They're a bit naffed off that they can't admit. Yeah, people do well on HRT.
But isn't it weird? Like, do you know what? I mean, my husband's a reconstructive surgeon, and years ago, as a training to be a doctor, you do like a minor injuries course, so you learn like how to do little sutures, you know, just like tiny lumps and bumps remove. And I was like a little kid coming home from school to show him my work, and there was this little patchwork thing, and I could show him. He looked at it and he went, "That was the wrong suture material. That's a mess. I hope you never do that in real life." And I could have got really annoyed, but he was right, actually. And he is amazing as a surgeon. But I will respect him and say, wow, isn't that incredible? You can do that. And I can't. Yeah. Like, it's fine. We're allowed to be different, and we're allowed to learn. And, you know, when I was doing psychiatry, I didn't know about hormones. But I live with regret that I didn't. But I can't change the past. But you learn, and it's just this sort of blanket, no, you can't.
Absolutely. I mean, you'd sent a letter, you'd given your personal phone number, and then when I eventually got to speak to the GP, you know, they said, well, Louise is a specialist, I'm not, I do a bit of everything. And I said, so why aren't you responding, you know, why can't you respond to Louise and learn from, you know, she's a colleague, isn't she, to you, and it's sharing, learning and educating. And then, you know, like I say, she said to me, maybe your mum's illness has always been hormones, and, you know, just said it off the cuff. And I'm kind of like, yes, but that's 30 years of suffering because of, you know, and it does frustrate me that, and I appreciate there's not been anybody like you to advocate for this, but
it is a really sad situation. I mean, I've stopped driving 5-6 years ago, because in my mind I kept thinking I just want to drive into an oncoming lorry and torturing myself. But then in later years, when I got my grandchildren, I began having thoughts about my grandchildren, so I didn't want to be around them, which they've been to stay for 2 weekends.
And they want to come more?
Yeah, but I mean, they're a handful. Mind, I'm a lot older than when my kids were little, but you boys were quite well behaved. I was lucky in that sense.
But you love being with them, which you
Absolutely.
were scared of being with them.
I used to work in play groups when I was younger, and then suddenly I couldn't be near children. I didn't want to be because of horrible thoughts what were manifesting, and fingers crossed they're kind of going.
Yeah. It's amazing. But, you know, you are just 2 people out of how many globally?
Absolutely.
And that's what we've got to try and change for future generations.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really grateful. I really am, honestly, because I know it's a massive thing that you've come here, both of you, to share, but I know that you've done it to help others, and that's really important. So I usually ask for 3 take-home tips, but I can't ask for 1.5 each. So I'm going to ask for 2 each, if that's okay.
Yeah.
So I'll ask, who wants to go first? Do you want to go first? Bring it on.
Whatever you're feeling, please don't keep it to yourself. Please go to your GP and, really plead with them for help. And don't just stay at home. Jay laughs when I say my dressing gown days, because I rarely bathed. I didn't want to get dressed and totally let myself go. And the other one, please don't turn to alcohol, because though at the time you're drinking it, you think it's helping and masking things.
But it's not.
It's not. It's just leaving you feeling worse the next day. Whittling, am I over the limit driving the boys to school? And just don't.
That is
Just
great.
please help yourself and get to the doctors.
Thank you. Jay?
I've spoke to multiple men now at work, etc., who have said that's what my mum suffered with, that's what my wife suffered with after her children. We need to talk about it more and remove the taboo from it. Accept that, if you've got a headache, you take paracetamol, and if you've got a hormone imbalance, you need your hormones. And my second advice would be, if it is postnatal, I understand that the first line treatment is still to be put on antidepressants, antipsychotics, mood stabilizers. Question, is it hormones? Because, from my mum's experience, I feel like a lot of the time it is.
Great advice, great tips, and just thank you for
Great
being
help
here.
from you. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Louise. You've saved my mum's life, and that's,
Jay always tells me that. Be like Louise.
No, you've saved my mum's life, and now I think we're on the mission with you to save other women's lives.
Yeah. Well, we're going to have our work cut out, but that's all right.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.